This is a short story from Diablo 3. Blizzard Entertainment presents Monk, Unyielding, written by Matt Burns, read for you by Stefan Schwarz. When the ill wind blows, the tree that bends will break. Zota could not silence Akiev's parting words. They had dodged every step for the past weeks. By day, the memories of the master's voice was only a whisper, but when night came, it reached a fever pitch. Tonight was the same. Tonight he knew he would be tested again. The winds had picked up, howling through the Gogora like the last icy breath of a dying god. The cold gnawed through his green, white and blue sashes, biting bone deep. In years past he had endured slashing mountain gales outside the floating sky monastery without so much as flinching. But this wind was different. There was an urgency to it that filled him with disquiet, as if the forest gods were roiling in fear. Zota paced at the edge of the campsite, tapping his bowstaff on the lichen-covered ground. Mossy pine and birch trees towered around the clearing where he had settled for the night, along with a supremely ancient oak. Its great gnarled boughs arced over the breadth of the camp almost protectively. The two men near his fire were still asleep, wrapped tight in a tattered wool blanket. He had hoped for a night of solitude, but the refugees had spoiled that by finding him just after sunset. The desire to refuse them a place at the campsite had been strong, but Zota's master had explicitly forbidden him to turn away travelers.
"Welcome them with open arms, but keep your heart guarded,"
Akiev had ordered.
"Observe them with care, for if they are trained by the god of chaos, it will do all it can to evade your gaze."
And so Zota had obeyed, examining the strangers closely. It had not taken long for him to judge that they were free of corruption. The gaunt and weary-eyed men were a graying father and his 20-year-old son, the sole survivors of an attack by a band of savage Khazra. The filthy goatman had taken the refugees' village unaware and reduced it to a smoldering graveyard. The men hailed from an area of the Gogora that held religious and cultural ties to Ivgorod, and they were fleeing north to the safety of the city. Despite the horrors that they faced, the father and son were full of hope, and they believed that finding Zota was a sign that the god of fate was looking kindly on them. He had felt almost cruel listening to them prattle about the life that they would lead within Ivgorod's walls, knowing in his heart that they would likely die before they reached the city. As they prepared to sleep, the two had offered the last of their meager provisions in exchange for sharing Zota's camp. He had politely feigned the urge to accept before he turned the gift away. In truth, he wanted nothing to do with the refugees. He had learned not to grow close to those he met in the Gogora, for fear that they might become obstacles.
"Then we will give tribute twice over to the gods instead,"
the father had said not unkindly.
"They were gracious to have guided us to you, Holy One. Nothing in the Gogora is as it seems."
"No," Zota had wanted to reply. "Not even me."